Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Arkansas Weather Blog. We are your ticket to big weather events. You may remember it was last week at this time. I came here on the Weather Blog and also on the air, and I said, get ready, we're going to go from mild to wild. And where we had a stretch of mild air last week, and it all came to an abrupt halt with that wild weather, with the rainfall, 5, 6, 7, almost 8 inches of rain just last, it was on Friday and Saturday. And then we even had 3 confirmed tornadoes across the state. One in Redfield late Friday, which was a weak one, but it did affect Redfield, EF1. EF2 near Hughes, Arkansas, which tracked towards the northeast. That actually had a fatality involved in that one. And then yet another tornado, which was in far Chico County into extreme southern Deshay County. That, too, has been rated by the Jackson National Weather Service Office as an EF2 tornado in Chico County, northern Chico County, but EF1 damage in far southern Deshay County. I'm being told that from both of those offices that tornado has quite a track to it because it started in northern Chico and went across the Mississippi River, apparently, and the survey continues in the Mississippi over the next couple of days or so. So that track is still yet to be finalized, but we do know that there's EF2 damage. Now, that mild to wild patterns coming to an end, and as we thought, the severe weather would be limited to the far southeastern portion of the state, with most of us getting that flooding rainfall. That's over with now. Now, you know, what am I going to say this week? Or it's not mild to wild, that's for sure. It is just cold. And it's not anything at least extremely cold, and it's nothing that we haven't already seen. But I'm looking at Christmas Eve being very cool. I don't think temperatures get out of the 30s for much of central and northern Arkansas, maybe even southern Arkansas too. And overnight lows on Christmas Day, when you wake up Christmas Day, that low temperature is going to be in the teens and 20s across the state. And we're under what's called a northwesterly wind flow aloft, and that's going to deliver punches of cold air, one right after another, as what we call the Arctic Oscillation. This is very important. The Arctic Oscillation, it's a telekinetic index that we look at, and it's only good for a couple of weeks to forecast. But when we see this index go negative, it has a positive phase and it has a negative phase. And just try to give you a short little synopsis as to what this does to Arkansas weather. It has a lot of control over our weather during the wintertime. When it is negative, rather, let's start with when it's positive, like it has been over the past week, we tend to be mild. That's when we tend to see, rain, and we can get heavy rain, we can get severe weather. So when the storm track and the cold air is bottled up to the north. When it goes negative, that's when the cold air dives towards the south and into Arkansas and the central and eastern United States. And it appears right now that all the long-range models showing that is going to go negative, strongly negative, as we head towards the very last week of this year and into the new year, which will continue to deliver cold air into Arkansas. So it's not so much mild to wild, it's just going to be cold. How much moisture gets involved in this pattern, that's yet to be seen, if any moisture, because usually a northwesterly wind flow is very dry with limited moisture coming into it. I'm going to quickly start off here with the European model and look at what we call 500 millibars. And this is way up, several thousand feet in the atmosphere, and what you're looking at are all the storm systems riding through the river of air in the upper levels of the atmosphere, where we have ridges and where we have troughs. The air is moving from west to east or through these ridges and troughs. And the thing you're going to notice throughout time is that there's going to be a ridge building into Alaska. You see the United States here. You see Arkansas down here towards the bottom of the screen. But here's a trough and a little wave of low pressure, ridging. Another trough of low pressure, ridging. So you have all these long wave troughs and ridges, which will be progressing through the flow. But the one thing you're going to be noticing is this ridge building into Alaska. And whenever that ridge starts to build into Alaska, and especially Western Canada, that sends a downstream trough like that. And notice that throughout, let's go right into Christmas Day, ridging going up into Alaska, downstream trough, and you're getting pieces of energy coming down that trough, delivering cold air into the central United States. And it just persists for the next several days. So it's a cool pattern. There are small little warm-ups between each batch of reinforcing cold air, but more of these disturbances keep coming down and bringing reinforcing shots of cool air, and it gets even more what we call amplified, where the ridge builds even further. The trough is even more evident here. And this vortex, very cold vortex of air, just keeps spinning around near Hudson Bay and keeps sending waves of cold air towards the south. You also have to watch out here for energy that can come in and around, which could bring some precipitation. That's way far off to be even considered right now. But just, you see this area, here we go. See this ridging? This is the very last day that it goes out. This is on New Year's Day. But ridging over Alaska, downstream trough, and cold air is just draining right into the central and eastern United States with a pattern like this. And when we look at the surface here on the European model, for instance, at 6 a.m. Monday morning, you're looking at in the black lines isobars, and that's the thing I really want you to see with this. Here's a new area of high pressure that is centered in South Dakota, and again, remember, it has a clockwise flow around it. And you see this cold air draining in from the north, so you're getting another reinforcing shot of cold air coming out of Canada later on Monday, which is really going to send temperatures down Christmas Eve. This is Christmas Eve morning right here. It becomes a 1038 high, and this moves off, and this is what I'm talking about. As soon as this high moves off, remember, it has a clockwise flow out of that high, and it's basically sitting on top of us here on Christmas Eve morning. But as soon as that moves away towards the east, you get a return flow, and so you get a little bit of a moderation before the next system comes through. And there's really not enough time, and that doesn't, the pattern really doesn't set itself up for a return flow out of the Gulf of Mexico. So any return flow is not very warm and moist. The Gulf of Mexico is basically shut off for business. This is right here, Christmas Day at 6 a.m. The area of high pressure has moved around here, and you're starting to get an east-southeasterly flow here, and you're already noticing the next frontal boundary coming in from the north, another reinforcing shot of cold air coming down the plains. Well, it looks like this one's going to be more directed towards the east, but here's another area of high pressure coming down for the end of the week, which keeps the pattern cool and mostly dry for the next several days. Going into next weekend, this is something that really caught my attention. Let's go. This is Sunday morning, the 29th. See this frontal boundary right here? There's another strong area of high pressure coming down, and another strong area of Arctic air which descends over the United States. This is Monday morning, the 30th. Another very strong high. You see that 1034 right there? Strong east-northeasterly winds here at the surface. So another big batch of Arctic air arrives by the beginning of the following week going into New Year's. That shifts away. And here comes another, here comes yet another high coming out of Canada. So it looks like a parade of fronts, really, coming in this, what we call a northwesterly wind flow aloft. And this is the northwesterly wind flow. Remember, it's going west to east around these ridges. So you're getting a northwesterly wind flow aloft, driving in these disturbances that are moisture starved. So they just bring a few clouds and just reinforces the cold air that we have in place. The Arctic Oscillation, as I mentioned, appears to be going strongly negative for the end of the year and into the new year, and that forebodes of a chilly pattern. It's very difficult to predict that far out, but the Arctic Oscillation, but it does appear it's been quite positive for a while, but now it looks as if that's going to go negative and bring in some pretty chilly air into the central and eastern United States. As far as precipitation is concerned, I'm just... with this type of pattern, it's usually dry, but I'm not going to rule anything out. I'm going to keep an eye on it for you. So thank you so much for coming to the Arkansas Weather Blog. We are your ticket to big weather events.